Hi everyone, Stepan here. In today's video I'm going to go over one of the two last games from Silver Lake, the most painful tournament I've played so far, and also the most painful games I ever had to show on the channel. And I mean, I wish I didn't have to do this, but I promised myself that I would record all of my games, so here it is. After 6 rounds of the tournament, all of my results were negative. I lost points in every game, and in round 7 I got paired against a 200 points lower rated opponent who almost defeated my friend a few rounds back. My friend is 2200, so a strong player, young player from Moldavia, definitely not 1700. But he has a pretty dubious repertoire against the Closed Sicilian, and he'd actually played Milan, my coach, in a game online. It was some league, something. The game is actually in the databases, and Milan defeated him easily. So I prepared the same variation, which I prepared specifically because he plays what I'm about to show you. So e4, c5, I go knight c3, and he goes knight c6. And after bishop b5, there are many normal moves. Knight d4 is the best move, but he plays g6. And now against g6, I mean, this is obviously not too bad for black, but it's extremely dangerous. And Nakamura, for example, had won games in this variation. But if you're not very experienced, very calm, and if you don't have extremely good calculation and defensive skills, you'll probably lose. So you take on c6, and after d takes c6, white continues d3, and after bishop g7, bishop to e3. And the idea is pretty simple. Firstly, this pawn has to be defended. After this, you go queen d2, and the idea is to play a very quick bishop h6 to prevent him from castling. My opponent played knight f6, and now I played what is one of the two best moves, but it allows a trick that I wasn't aware of, which messed up my idea, messed up my setup. And I mean, I know it now, but at the time I was pretty confused, and the trick and his move is fairly obvious. So what I should do here is I should play bishop h6 straight away. There's no reason not to do it. There's no reason not to play bishop h6 straight away. So he has two options basically. Well, 3 options. He can play king f8, but let's discard that. So he can castle, and after castles I take, and simply go f4, followed by knight f3, castles king side or castles queen side, and they storm his king. Alternatively, if he takes bishop h6, then queen takes h6, and again I continue with f4, knight f3, and so on and so on. Now, one of black's main plans in this variation, which I was aware of, is to play e5 and then transfer this knight from f6 to e6 via d7, f8, and e6, and then to control the weakness in white's position, which is the d4 square. And that's something I always have to consider. So I did not play bishop h6 straight away. First, I played pawn to h3. Now, pawn to h3 prevents knight g4 and bishop g4, which could be useful moves for him. This bishop usually doesn't have a better square than e6, but before it could go to e6, the knight has to jump into d4. So bishop g4 is a useful move. So I played pawn to h3. However, this is not such an inaccuracy here, but watch this. He plays e5. And again, I didn't play bishop h6. I just figured I have time to play bishop h6. If he castles, I'm fine. Whatever else he does, I'm fine. So I went knight g to e2. This is the most common way to finish this setup. The idea now is to castle kingside, go f4 after bishop h6. But here's the problem. So I told you that he wants to play knight d7, f8, e6, d4. He starts doing that, knight d7. And now I had a choice between 3 moves. I chose the worst one. I mean, the position is still much better for white. The engine prefers white, but that's not the problem. Conceptually, I failed to enter what I'd prepared with my next move, or actually by playing h3 and knight g to e2 before bishop h6. So I played bishop h6 here, which is not as good as on the two previous moves because the knight is not on f6, therefore he plays bishop f6. And when he played bishop f6, which of course is a very logical move, visually most appealing, avoids most of the complications he could face, I was pretty confused. Again, I had a dilemma and I didn't know how to proceed. So I chose a tactical continuation which gave me a good position, but still it would have been better to play bishop h6 early on. The alternatives to bishop h6 here, since it doesn't work, and had I seen and anticipated bishop f6, I wouldn't have played it, are castles kingside or castles queenside. I believe castling queenside is best, practically, where if he continues knight f8, I think that's kind of slow, I just go f4. And if he starts attacking me with b5, I go bishop h6. Bishop f6 here is not as dangerous, I just go king b1 and start my attack. b4 never works before a5, a4, because I just go knight a4, and this is a weakness he is going to have a hard time defending. Also, I could have simply gone kingside, castles kingside, and if he continues with knight f8, then bishop h6, bishop f6, and now f4. And still, it would have been much better to have traded off the bishops earlier in any way, whether he takes on h6 or castles and I take on g7, but that's what happened. So anyway, he played knight d7, I played bishop h6, he played bishop f6, and now I went for a tactical continuation which he did not accept. I had a long think here, since I was confused by his move, or confused, I didn't know what to do, I hadn't seen that before. This has actually never been played before. I had a long think and I chose the most aggressive continuation. I chose pawn to f4. This of course allows a tactical trick for him, which doesn't really work and gives white a very good position. And I calculated all of that in my 20-minute think before playing f4. The tactic is bishop h4 check, and if I play g3, which is the only sensible move, he takes it, knight takes g3, and queen to h4 forks my knight and bishop. That, however, is pretty good for white. So I take here, my bishop is defended now, so he has to take my knight, and I just go queen f2. And if he takes on e5, which is the most sensible option, I just castle queenside, and this is extremely good for me. His king is not going anywhere, knight f8 is too slow, rook f1 is coming, bishop f4 could be a threat. If he ever moves the queen away, then maybe bishop to g7. I could very well transfer my knight to f5, which could be dangerous. May seem absurd, but this is what I'd visualized. Taking here would open up the e-file. So after f4, I think understandably he didn't go for that. I mean, it goes to show that he's not really 1700. I think he is much better. So he plays knight f8. Okay, now I castled queenside. Okay, not allowing bishop h4 anymore and just going for the attack. He plays knight e6, finishing his plan, jumping into d4. King b1, knight to d4, and g4. Okay, so g4 threatens to win a pawn. If I play g5, he has to move the bishop away. I take on e5, his position collapses. So if he plays something stupid like bishop e6, then g5, bishop e7, take on e5. And this knight is not supported anymore, and I'm, for example, if he plays, let's give him a move, queen d7, then I take, pawn takes, and knight here. And if he starts extending like this, then his position becomes weaker. I go here and here and here, and stuff starts to happen. Also, I have bishop g7 and bishop f6, and his position is just bad. So after g4, he has to take on f4. And now, I mean, here, the first mistake, playing h3 and knight g to e2 before bishop h6, was conceptual. And I did not enter a type of position I wanted to enter. This mistake is, I think, of a very practical nature and due to a misunderstanding of the position and miscalculation. So I can take three different ways, or I don't have to take. After analyzing this position for a long while after the game, I concluded that rook f1 is the best move, rook df1 probably. And the engine, I believe, thinks bishop takes is best, but after rook df1, I'm actually threatening to already start piling tremendous pressure on f7. The most obvious move, g5 fails to knight f4. And after gf4 I play queen f4, the bishop is hanging, f7 is hanging, and if he retreats the bishop, this is just too much. This is too much of an advantage for me. Okay, so after ef4, if I were playing this position again, I would play rook df1. Queen f4 is also really good, and I believe better than what I did in the game. He has to play queen e7 or queen d7 because rook f1 is coming, and again bishop hanging, f7 hanging, and now I just take on d4. And if he takes with the bishop, I go e5, and this again is really good for me, cutting off this bishop from the game, threatening bishop to g7, and he could probably resign here. If he takes with the c-pawn, then I simply go knight to e2, and bishop e5, and queen f2, and again, rook f1 is coming, d4 is weak, bishop anywhere, probably transferring the bishop somewhere here is even possible to start pushing the pawns. I could also take with the bishop. This is the engine move, and the engine says knight e2 is best, queen e2 and bishop d4, which is fine. In the game I took with the knight, and here is why. I didn't want to allow him to take on e2. I don't know why. I think I would be happy if he took on e2 when I look at the position now. And the problem with knight f4 is that he has this tempo with bishop e5, which he doesn't have if I take with the bishop. So my idea was rook d to f1 now, threatening f7, and he plays bishop e6. And now I'm starting to lose my advantage. I mean, the position doesn't look as menacing for him anymore. So I have to take this bishop because it's defending f7 and it's better than my knight. So takes, knight takes. And I go queen f2, which is basically a waste of tempo because he wants to play queen e7 and castle queenside anyway. And I'm starting to lose the plot. I don't think I have an advantage anymore. The engine still says white is better, but this is just not the position I'd imagined. I went knight e2, he went f6, and this is a very common plan. Playing f6 and cementing the position, this means that white has no more attack. So here I had to think of another plan. I mean, it was really hard to come up with something constructive, and as my friend Damian showed me while we were at the tournament preparing for our games, he showed me that one of the most common ideas in Rossolimo type positions is to go c3 d4 when you've castled queenside. I just started preparing that. I mean, I'm never breaking through on f6 anymore. I have to dislodge this bishop, so I went bishop e3. I don't think he's castling kingside, so this bishop is pretty useless now. Castles queenside, rook back to d1, he went h5, and I didn't want to trade rooks, so I took, which is fine, rook h5, and I went c3. If I can get in d4, maybe I have some chances. He went bishop c7, just anticipating d4, and now knight f4, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, queen e6. Here he offered the draw, and I accepted because if you turn on the engine, it's all zeros. In practice, I think neither of us can really win because it's highly likely that these four pawns are going to be off the board pretty soon. And then I'm the one with the weakness, which I'm going to have to trade off, getting rid of his doubled pawns. So in all likelihood, these pawns are going to be traded off. And we both had enough time on the clock, and I accepted. Not because, well, if I were playing this game today, I would never accept the draw, but I was feeling so miserable after the first 6 rounds of this tournament that I just didn't think I could win, to be honest. And that's a dreadful feeling that I never want to have again. And this game, I mean, this setup I was playing is really good. I believe that if I'd played bishop h6 earlier, I would have gotten a better position and perhaps won. But I was resigned, which you should never be during a tournament. And this was round 7, 2 more games to go. And as I said in previous videos, I felt so bad that I just wanted to go home. and another draw, another rating loss. But luckily for me, and hopefully for you guys, there's only one more game I have to show you, one more bad game from this tournament, and after that I'm moving on to better games, finally, to the other two tournaments. And showing this will finally be over. You cannot imagine how hard it is to record games like this. Thank you very much for watching, despite the poor quality of the game. I hope you at least got some ideas from the video. And stay tuned for more chess. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.